Welcome, students, to class 1. It is very good to have you here. In this particular class, we'll be talking about the introduction to sales. And some of the highlighted points that we'll be talking about today is what is sales, roles in sales, misconceptions in sales, and key terms in sales. It is very important we have this foundation, and that is why we would be doing exactly this today. Make sure to have your writing papers, listening ears, because these are very important terms that you need to know, important foundation you need to have in order for you to understand the other consecutive classes. So listen carefully. What is sales? As it's highlighted here, it says that sales is the process of finding people with a problem, showing them you have a solution, and guiding them to a decision to buy. Sales is very simple. It is just you helping people solve their problem. That is what you are doing. Sales is not manipulation. It is problem solving with purpose. It is problem solving with purpose. Not just talking. It is listening, research, and follow up. In sales, you do more of listening, research, and follow ups. Value exchange. You have to give something worth more than the pay. That is why I said earlier, if you are to reach out to a company about a particular problem you want to solve for that company, you should know that the value that you are giving in exchange of 50 million naira should be worth more than the 50 million naira. I hope you get that. The value that you're exchanging, that is why it is not about selling clothes or selling products. You have to have a value that you want to exchange in order to get that particular money. The money they want to pay you or whatever you are exchanging with your value. Moving on, we will be talking about the roles you can work in sales. It is very important that we have this foundation, that there are actually several roles that you can actually work in sales. I know when you were coming into these classes, you had the idea that you can only work as a sales specialist, but you can also work with other various roles in the sales industry. So for the first one, we have sales specialist. A sales specialist sells a specific product or services for a company. So let me give you an example. Let's say Dangote. Dangote sells salt. Dangote sells cement. Dangote sells sugar, etc. For instance, if you're a sales specialist for Dangote, you'll be selling a specific product. So that means you might only be selling a cement and not the other product. One is an appointment setter. So an appointment setter is to book calls for closers. Great entry level role. First of all, the reason why it is written here that it is a great entry level role is that if you are just new in sales, it is very good for the entry level because you are just entry sales. So it is very good for you that is just starting sales. So this is like a very advisable role for people that are just entering sales. So now let me explain the role very well. They say they book calls for closers. So basically, under the appointment setter, sometimes we have people who close cold calls and warm calls. So for instance, when you run ads on Instagram, maybe you have businesses and you run ads on Instagram, and you already have people clicking on the link to come to your WhatsApp because you know the link has already generated them to WhatsApp. There is somebody that would be making appointments with these people. You know, these people sometimes they just click on the link, they don't have a full understanding of what it means. So what you have to do is to explain to them, guide them through the process of solving their problem, ask them questions, get to know their problem and how you can actually let them understand how you can actually solve their problem properly, and you move them to a closer. That means the person that is closing is different from you. All you have to do is to set an appointment. So you have to set an appointment with the prospect, and the person would be moved to the closer, the person that will not eventually close the deal. In this sales course, you'll be learning how to set an appointment and also how to close. You are learning every single thing you need to know in sales in order for you to be able to work in different sectors like this. So another one is SDR, does outreach and qualify leads for closers. The same thing. So in this case of SDR is quite different from the appointment setter. So the SDR does outreach. So you actually reach out to prospects yourself. It's different in this case where you have to, get leads to come or set appointments for leads. So there's also something I need to point out for the appointment setter. It just not only adds or warm leads. Sometimes it can be cold leads. Sometimes you have to reach out to cold leads, and set an appointment with them, but you would not be the one to close it. That is just the thing. You will not be the one to close it, but you can cold call people, also do cold outreaches, and you would not be the one to close it. All you have to do is to take them to the stage of setting an appointment. Sorry to deviate. So let's continue SDR. So like I said earlier, this person does an outreach, qualify leads for the closers. So what this person does is to do an outreach. They do an outreach, call people, reach out to people, reach out to, prospects and every single thing. They reach out to these people, they qualify the leads that are interested, and they give it to the closers. They hand it over to the closers, just like how I explained about the appointment setters. They hand it over to the closer. The person that is closing it is a total different person from the person that's actually doing the outreach and qualifying the leads. Another one is closer or account executive. So these people convert and qualify leads into paying customers. So like I said earlier, for the SDR and the appointment setter, these people, they do a different role and they hand it over to the closers. So the account executive and closer is the person that they'll hand it over to. So when they are bringing leads, they are handing over leads to closer. These are the people that will now do the final arrangement and actually make the prospect to come to a definite decision. If they need to pay, they will pay. If they need to exchange something, they will exchange something. All that will be done by the closer and not you. Another one is the freelance and commission. So we have the earn per deal, no salary, high risk and high reward. So for the freelance or commission based, these are people that work on their own. They work on their own. They work on commission. There is no salary, and it is very high risk and high reward. So that means that if you're working on your own as a salesperson, as a freelance salesperson, you are not attached to any company or any organization. You're working as your own. So that means that you have to earn per deal, but there's always like a huge sum of money. Let's say, for instance, in your organization, they say that you should meet a target of 3 people to 4 people per month. But if you're working for yourself, that means that if you meet a target of 4 people, you can make more than you would have made in the organization. But it is not really advisable for people that are just in the entry level. The next one is BDR. These people find new markets and growth opportunities for the organization. The last one is a sales manager. A sales manager is just like a head of a sales team. So we have like 10 people in a team, and we have somebody that is a sales manager. We know what managers are. So that person is a sales manager. So they lead and coach, sales team. I hope we understand everything I have said here. Next, we'll be talking about the common misconceptions about sales. The first one, you have to be loud and pushy. It's a lie. That is why when you go to local markets, you see people being loud, being pushy. You see like 4 to 5 people on your head, only you, and they're trying to convince you to come and buy gin from them, but they are too loud, too pushy. Real salespeople are not like that. The best salesmen listen more than they actually talk. The next one, you need a degree. No, you don't need a degree to hold to actually work in sales. You don't need a university degree, a master's degree. You don't need it. All you need at most of the time is a sales certificate, so you don't need a degree. Next one is introverts can't sell. Is a lie. Most introverts think that they can't sell because they think sales is more of talking, but in real sense, introverts are often best listeners, and that means they have superpowers in sales because they have the ability to listen more than they talk. They have the ability to contain their emotions and their state of mind. So, the next one, if they say no, it is over. No often means not yet or I need more information. So there are people that say when you go to, when people are trying to tell you to get a particular product or you're trying to sell a product to somebody and the person say no, not many times do we ask why no. Why do we ask why? Is because to narrow down why they say no. They might be saying no because they don't fully understand that yet. They don't fully grasp the concept of what you are saying. Maybe they are not ready yet. Maybe you are planning for something, or maybe something is incoming. You need to know the exact reason why a prospect is saying no. Another one is sales is just talking. Most of sales is research, follow up, and strategy. So it is not just when we talk about sales, reaching out to industries, companies, or to exchange products with them and da 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 da. Most times we think that sales is just you meeting people and you're talking to them. No, like I said in the previous example, you have to ask questions, think about how to properly approach somebody. Sometimes you even have to study the person. That is how far you can go. You have to study the person. In a case where you want to reach out to the CEO of a big company that you want to offer your problem solving services to, you have to study the CEO in order for you to understand the proper way to approach that person. So sales is research, follow up, and strategy. Next, we'll be talking about the key sales terms. So we have different key sales terms, and it is very, very important that we know all these terms so that when I am talking and I'm saying prospects and I'm saying cold outreach and I'm saying cold leads and I'm saying outreach, you would understand what I am saying. I understand that in the previous explanation, we might be wondering, what is cold outreach? What is warm leads? What is this? These are terms that we use in sales. In sales, like an inside term that we use in sales. It is important to know all these terms. In consecutive classes, I would not be trying to break down the explanation for this term. I hope you understand them. So for the first one, we have leads. Anyone who could potentially become a customer is different from a customer. Anyone you think that can potentially be a customer is a lead. The next one, we have cold leads. No prior contact, doesn't know you exist. So cold leads are people like customers that don't know you exist. They don't know you. They don't know about your product. They don't know about your services. They know nothing about you. They don't even know you exist. These are cold leads. That means potential customers that do not know you. They don't have any prior knowledge about you and they don't even know you exist. I hope that is understandable. The next one is warm leads. Showed interest, liked a post, was referred, visited your page. These are warm leads. These are people that already know you exist. For instance, now if you have a business and you are posting it online and you have somebody that is always liking it, to the extent that you have noticed that this person is always liking it, that person is a warm lead. It is easier for you to convert that person because the person already knows you, knows your value, knows your worth, and knows what you can do for people. So those are warm leads. So we have hot leads. These are people that are ready to buy. They just need a final push. They are ready to buy. You just need to tell them, okay, so this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. And close them. They are ready to buy. These are people that actually know that they want your product. So let's, for instance, you sell real estate, for instance, you sell real estate. And there's already this woman that has approached you that she wants to actually buy land. This is hot lead. She's already ready to buy land. All you have to do is to, guide her through the decision of buying and close. That is all you have to do. The next one is prospect. I've been saying prospect. Prospect is a lead you have vetted as a real potential buyer. So anybody that is coming to your